All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to discuss how I bought real estate in the metaverse. So over the past week or so, I've kind of made two power moves. The first is, as I mentioned, buying real estate in the metaverse. And the second, which will be in a subsequent video, is purchasing artwork via masterworks.io. And these two things kind of tie in together. For me, I have a lot of different assets, specifically a lot of stock and bond assets, ETF assets, in the millions of dollars in the Maneos compounding machine, and then a certain amount individually and with my family. And so I wanted to diversify out of stock market holdings, not completely, of course, but I just wanted a certain percentage uncorrelated to the wiggles and waggles of the stock market, if you will. And so there's a couple different ways that are traditional in that. Obviously, real assets is a play on that, like, business, physical real estate, precious metals. And I have some of that. I have a trailer park that I own, 24 units, that throws off cash. I have some precious metals and in ETF form and such. And so by buying real estate in the metaverse and by purchasing artwork, which is correlated, Citigroup did a study, I think it's 0.11 to the S&P 500, it kind of fits neatly into the Ray Dalio video that I oftentimes show, which is the holy grail of investing. And, in it, he talks about if you can find 10 uncorrelated investments that return all 10% each, you're better off than just finding one that's 10%, because your risk of losing money in any given year is brought down by a significant amount. So that's kind of the idea. Now, with regard to the metaverse, you can see actually a video here with Gary Vaynerchuk, who's a very popular social media star. And he's interviewing Mark Zuckerberg. Obviously, Facebook changed its name to Meta. So you can just watch a lot of different videos on the metaverse. It involves things like virtual reality and the ability also to own things on the internet. You see the proliferation of NFTs and such that has come about. This is a channel. I'm going to play about 2 minutes of this. Alux. I'm a big fan of Alux. I like a lot of their content. And this is one they did on the metaverse. I'm going to play about 2 minutes here, just so if you haven't had any introduction, it'll at least kind of give you a sense. Let me minimize my screen here. And here we go.
So, what exactly is the metaverse? Saying what the metaverse is now is like saying what the internet was in the 90s.
You can now glimpse the future with nothing more than a modem, a phone line, and a few dollars a month.
There was no concept of social media, content creators, sharing platforms, trading platforms, platforms that make other platforms, and the list goes on. So, technically, the metaverse is whatever we build on it. It sits at the crossroads of Web 3.0, blockchain, and virtual reality. It's the combination of these three elements that make it possible. We need to take a look at the three parts individually, starting with Web 3.0, which is the next version of the internet. Yes, there are more versions of the internet. Web 1.0 looked like that website we showed you at the beginning. It's just a page with a bunch of text and some hyperlinks to more pages with more text. There is no interaction, no user-generated content, pretty much nothing but text on a screen. Web 2.0 is what we currently have now. It's largely community-based. Most of it is user-generated content, is highly interactive, and you can do a bunch of stuff on it. One really important thing to mention here: there's only one thing you can buy and own on the internet. A single thing. It's a domain name. Just like we own alux.com, Nobody in the world can make another website with the same domain name. Everything else is owned by corporations. Take this video, for example. Sure, we made it, but if YouTube wants to, they could just poof, and it's gone. Which leads us to Web 3.0. The most important thing you can do on Web 3.0 is own parts of the internet. Everything that you make, buy, or sell on the internet is yours, and you have the full rights. This happens because of blockchain, and more specifically because of NFTs. They're the foundation blocks of value in the metaverse. You probably...
All right, so there you go. There's a short little introduction. I would encourage you to watch the entire video, which is found on ALUX. And so basically, the idea is to be able to own parts of the internet, which I find fascinating. And so I started doing a little research, and I saw that there were really, I think, two places that you could do the real estate thing, Decentraland, and I believe the other one was called Sandbox, or is called Sandbox. So I started reading and researching a little bit, and I was able to do it on Decentraland. I invested about $12,000 in the parcel of real estate in Decentraland. Basically, the process was fairly simple. I had to go on my Coinbase account, and I purchased Mana, MANA, and then I created a Decentraland account. I sent the Mana to the Decentraland account, and then once the Mana was in that particular account, I was able to purchase the real estate. So let's shift over here into Decentraland, and you can see I still have 202 Mana left after the purchase. So this is my particular piece of the metaverse, and it's right here, that little pink dot. It's near the road there, and you can see I purchased it for 4 days ago, $42.88, which it's kind of a 3-to-1. So if you do $48.88 divided by 3, it's about $12.8 or so cost basis. And you can see I can go on here if I wanted to now and sell it, or I can transfer it. And then I'll take you over here. And this is the real estate. We're gonna just scroll out just a little here. Let's see if I can do that. So I'm just scrolling back so you can see the size of the real estate. And so all these different places here is real estate in the metaverse. Various sizes, various prices. Again, I just bought one parcel, which is the smallest amount you can buy. I'm going to zoom back in here. What I'm going to do is just to kind of show you, if I go here and I click on here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the cheapest real estate, and obviously it's going to be a single parcel. So you see this one's selling for $47.49, $47.88. So already just in the past few days, my real estate has appreciated in the metaverse. Because if you take, I purchased it for $42.88 times 3, $12,864, $12,864. So I would be up about $1,383 in that. The least expensive parcel now is $47.49. So if I listed it at the least expensive, and obviously, there's some pretty, let's say, like if you look at just like recently sold, for example, here, there's some parcels selling. So just take whatever number you see here times 3. So this just sold for about $270,000. This one just sold for $300,000, Central Plaza. And again, I know that some of you are watching this and you're thinking to yourselves, are you kidding me? Like, a dot on a screen is selling for $300,000. I get that. I mean, I get the skepticism. I get the cynicism a little bit. But the thing is, from my studying of investing and such, the world generally doesn't go backwards. So we don't go from the horse, to the Ford Model T and then back to the horse. We generally don't go from a rotary phone to a flip phone back to a rotary phone, or we don't go from the flip phone to a smartphone back to the flip phone. We don't go from the PC back to a typewriter. And I think with you see like Facebook changing its name to Meta, with high profile investors like Gary Vaynerchuk, Mr. Wonderful. And I think you're going to see a lot of others get onto this, just like you saw with crypto. And I don't think crypto is going anywhere. I mean, I know that, Bitcoin now is broaching about 40,000. It's in kind of a bear market, but I don't think that's going to zero. I think cryptocurrency is here to stay and will be part of the future of humanity in some capacity. I got in very early with crypto, and I did very well with it. Just like I'm in very early here, with the metaverse, and specifically real estate in the metaverse. Eventually, there's people that are developing their pieces of real estate within the metaverse. So, for example, I could perhaps get a developer to have, like, on my parcel, like a little garden that grows virtual tomatoes and peppers, and people that are walking through the metaverse sell them tomatoes and peppers, which they would pay in mana in the metaverse, things like that. Or it could just be like a speculator. You buy a piece of real estate, you hold it for 3-4 years, and you flip it. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's very speculative. If you're, if your net worth isn't very high, I wouldn't advise this. But I have millions and millions of dollars on the stock market. I have over $1 million in real estate. So I wanted to diversify through, or in the metaverse, and in fine art, which again I did through Masterworks. And this is, I wanted to read this. This is a book that I just finished here. It's going to be reversed, obviously, every time I do this, but it's called Trillions by Robin Wigglesworth. And the passage I'm going to read really relates to the idea of the world generally doesn't go backwards. And I feel, as an investor, you have an obligation to multiply money, not to adhere to your sensibilities. And so what do I mean by that? This is a passage here I'm going to read where Jack Bogle, the founder of Vanguard, essentially was like the first person to have the opportunity to pursue ETFs. And he chose not to do it because it conflicted with his own worldview. He didn't think, like, is this going to be a big thing? And do I have an obligation as the Vanguard CEO to pursue something that's going to make Vanguard and its shareholders money? It was, Jack Bogle, don't believe in this because it's going to allow people to trade too often. And I believe they should buy and hold until they're 59 or 69, whenever they're going to retire. So, so I feel that was a mistake. He may not, he's passed on recently, feel that was a mistake. Vanguard, when the torch was passed, furiously kind of undid their dilatory response to ETFs, and now they are one of the leaders in it. But they fell behind because of Bogle's sort of anti-ETF philosophy. So let me just, and the gentleman who introduced or was having a meeting here was Nate Most. Bogle and Most, a bespectacled, avuncular former submariner, hit it off. They were roughly of the same generation and both eschewed the sharp suits and polished patter of most Wall Street types. Although the gentle Most was more softly spoken than Vanguard's forceful founder, Bogle appreciated his forthright manner, his character, and his obvious intellect. He was also intrigued by what Most wanted to discuss, the outline of which Most had sketched out by letter the previous week. Yet Vanguard's chief still sent him packing. Nate Most was a fine gentleman, but it was the antithesis to what I like, Bogle later remarked. The decision to reject Most's idea was a sliding door moment for Vanguard and the broader money management industry, a decision that Vanguard would scramble to undo soon after the founder was forced to retire. So there you go. In that part, again, that Bogle, he said what I like, not what is the future of investing going to be. It's what I like. So it was a personal decision there that he made, as opposed to trying to read the tea leaves, so to speak. continue. Most had an audacious idea for how to resurrect the fortunes of the American Stock Exchange, his venerable yet struggling employer. To do so, he wanted to make Vanguard's index funds themselves tradable throughout the day, just like any stock. These tradable fund shares would offer investors more flexibility and bring a far broader universe of potential users to Vanguard, most argued. Bogle listened intently. He outlined a few practical flaws that would need to be addressed, but bluntly told most that he wasn't interested in a partnership, even if they were. He feared that such a product would turn Vanguard's index funds from a long-term savings vehicle for investors into a tool for mere speculation by hedge funds and other hyperactive market participants. You want people to be able to trade the S&P, but I just want them to buy and never sell it, he told most. So there you go. So that just kind of gives you a sense of, am I personally looking at getting a headset and going into a virtual reality? No, I mean, I'm pointing right now, my right arm here, to my garden. I prefer the reality of my tomato and vegetable garden to virtual reality. Do I want to not go to the gym and lift virtual weights in the metaverse? I don't. I want to go to the gym and, like an ancient Greek athlete or a 1975 bodybuilder, lift weights 5 to 6 days a week. Do I want to cease reading books and play on a tablet all day? No. So again, but this is my conservative, if you will, like Bogle, sensibility. And so I feel that if this is going to be a thing as an investor, I have a duty to my capital. I don't have other investors I represent, but my own capital to multiply it. And so that's why I've elected to do this, and it's made $1,300 in a few days. And I think that this is something that's going to be a force. It's going to be a force in the 21st century, whether you approve it or not. NFTs. Again, Gary Vaynerchuk, Mr. Wonderful, big on NFTs. So there it is, guys. That is my purchase of real estate, about $12,800 or so dollars, one parcel in Decentraland. I will keep you posted regarding the value, so on and so forth. Any comments, questions, your own opinions, feel free to put it in the comments. Take care. Ciao.